Good evening, good evening. All right, so let's just wait for the rest na. Let's give them a couple of minutes before we start. Vince, Jenny. All right, so I guess we can start. It's already 8:04. Meron bang papasok. So let's give them a couple of seconds, but we are going to start. So good evening, everyone. So we have Vince, we have Jenny, we have Rachel. Okay, welcome, welcome. All right. So we are also recording this, no, for future reference. Dun sa mga hindi naka-attend, they can always go to the replay. So just making sure that we are also recording. Okay, I think we are. All right, so we have. So let me know guys kung medyo pangit yung audio so that I can double check on my end. But hopefully you can see my presentation and the audio is clear as well. Okay. So we are going to start, no? Okay. So we have been doing this webinar for, I think this is already the fifth session or the fifth webinar, if I'm not mistaken, within our series of webinars. And we are going to talk about yung tinatawag nating seasonality in trading. So we'll talk about that and bakit natin kailangan malaman yung mga seasonalities na yan, and how it can help us with forex trading. So sino sa inyo, no? So Jenny, Rogel, Vince, anyone here who's already experienced trader? Yung bang may experience na or matagal lang nagtitrade? Any one of you guys? You can use the chat or you can just turn on your audio. Anyone here? Newbie. Okay, so may newbie tayo isa. How about the rest? Newbie or experienced traders? Alright. So sa mga newbies, no, let me know ha kung medyo mabilis yung ating discussion. I'll try to kumbaga slow my pacing, okay? Alright, so let's continue, guys. All right. So what is seasonality in forex trading? So there are recurring patterns sa forex or sa pagtitrade ng forex that is time-based or seasonal or season-based. Ibig sabihin, it's based on the time of the year or based on some known events. Okay, so it can be a recurring pattern which is time-based that basically provides a high probability. So that it's not going to be 100% all the time, but a high probability of moving on a certain direction. It can this seasonality can be caused by different drivers. So one would be economic cycle. Ano ba yung economic cycle? It can be the quarterly non-farm payroll. So yung mga ano natin, yung mga economic news natin, that might serve an economic cycle. So tax return would be one of them. Okay? Investor behavior on sometimes, no? For example, to bakasyon, yung vacation time, right? Summer, that might actually create some sort of direction in the market. And of course, some calendar events like holidays, no? Nagkakos yan actually ng change on market behavior. Expected change in market behavior. And so what would be the benefit to us traders if we want to anticipate yung mga seasonality na yan? So basically, if we anticipate movement, pasukin ko lang si Os. So if we anticipate this sort of seasonality in the market movement, then we can definitely parang follow or ride to the wave of that seasonality. So, marami tayong example, but just to give you one right now, let's say pag summer, okay, pag bakasyon, normally, pinupuntahan ng mga tao sa Western Hemisphere would be UK, right? So kapag ganyan, tumataas bigla yung yung pound saka euro. Okay? All right. So why does seasonality matter? So one, you as a trader, we do want to have a trading edge. If we are trading, we want to make sure that the probability of us winning is higher than the probability of us losing. So that's basically called an edge in the market. Okay, so we do want an edge. And so if we understand seasonality, then we can identify higher probability setups or buy and sell times. Okay, it can also provide a good timing. Okay, so if we are a long-term trader or a swing trader, we can time our trades based on seasonalities. And then third, trading types, no? Seasonality matters especially for those who are swing traders or position traders. Napaka-importante nito dun sa mga quote-unquote long-term traders because it does affect their trade in the long run. There are actually some traders who only trade based on seasonality. So guys, if you have any questions so far, let me know sa chat. Okay, may Okay. So ano yung mga key seasonal drivers? So one would be yung fiscal year end. Okay, so that would be normally March. End of March would be the fiscal year end. And for Japanese yen, no, yung fiscal year end na yan, it causes Japanese yen inflows. Okay, ano ba ibig sabihin nun? So Japan is known to have a huge economy that has the kumbaga the I'm not going to say propensity pero maraming company sa na Japan-based ang nag-iinvest outside of their country. Okay, marami, no? So they would invest actually sa Philippines pa nga lang, 'di ba? Maraming Japanese ang nag-iinvest dito no, sa mga infrastructure. And it's also the same with other countries. They would invest outside of their country. However, by the end of the fiscal year, to record all those earnings, profits, and losses to their books, they have to liquidate their position. They have to close their position. So ano mangyayari if they close their position? Basically, the money has to go back to their books. The money has to convert back to Japanese yen so that they can record it. Yun yung nangyayari. That's why end of March would cause Japanese yen increase. And that would increase the value of the Japanese yen and this is not going to be a long time. It will just only last around a couple of days by the end of March. Okay, any questions? All right. So second, another key seasonal driver would be yung central bank cycles. Okay, yung quarterly or semi-annual decision rhythm. That means if yung mga change on interest rate, yung mga interest rate hikes, that would be normally quarterly ginagawa. So kapag may ganyan, alam naman natin siguro, especially dun sa mga nag-trade na kapag nagtataas quarterly or nagkakaroon ng changes on the interest rate, tumataas or bumaba din yung pera. Actually, that is something that a lot of traders follow, no? They would actually look at, they try to forecast what would be the change on the interest rate because normally the money does follow whatever the interest rate is. Okay? Next would be yung trade and tourism. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, no? Kapag nag-summer na, no? Maraming, especially mga Americans, they would go to Europe, right? They would go to London, okay, at a summer vacation. So, kilala yung Europe as a summer destination for those who are living in the United States. Okay? And so, nagkakaroon ngayon ng inflow of euro and pound around summertime. Alright? So, siguro sa mga bago, hindi nyo alam to, no? That tourism does impact yung value ng pera. So, for newbies, no, kapag may inflow, kapag tumataas kasi yung demand for a certain currency, tumataas din kasi yung value niya. So if we know that, if you're going to trade euro US dollar around summertime, there is a tendency for the market to go higher instead of going lower. And then lastly, yung tax season, as I mentioned earlier, no? So USD and pound repatriation effects near deadline, same thing as yung una, yung fiscal Japanese yen inflow. Tax season naman yung nagpapa-inflow ng USD and pound. Kasi yun naman yung time na they have to repatriate all the investment that they have done offshore. So for that to be taxed, no, and they are required to pay the taxes and for them to record the numbers properly, they have to parang close the books, and that will be around tax season. Wala ba akong na-miss out na lahat naman nakapasok na? Wala nang nasa waiting room. All right. Again, welcome. Happy Jenny, Aussie, Rachel, Vince, and participant 387784. Okay, welcome. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. No problem. No problem. No problem, Ollie. See you tomorrow, by the way. All right. All right. So yan, no? So yan yung mga, so to deep dive into the different seasonalities, we do have some notable patterns on a monthly basis. Okay? So, isa-isahin natin to. So, around January, the US tends to strengthen. Okay? So, almost all currencies with US dollar would be US stronger, kumbaga. So, Euro USD, expect that to go lower. Okay? While USD JPY, expect that to be higher around January. All right? AUD and NZD often weakens due to portfolio rebalancing after year-end. Ang year-end kasi ng Australia saka New Zealand would be January. Okay? And February naman, no? Generally, it is a quiet month with low volatility. Traders often anticipate upcoming central bank meetings. Normal yan kasi around January, although marami ng negosyo ang may pasok na, okay? Karamihan kasi ng mga financial institutions, karamihan ng mga traders, they tend to have longer holidays, no? Medyo matagal-tagal silang nag-holiday. Hindi yan basta-basta pumapasok ng January 3. Alright? So around February, dun pala na actually nagkakaroon ng parang konting momentum sa market, and around February, we do have that central bank meetings. And that's the time na nagkakaroon na ng konting volatility. Pero again, that month is pretty much, kumbaga, silent and quiet and stable. So if you are trading around February, you are, let's say, a scalper or a, let's say, short-term trader, the tendency of the market is really, really good. The patterns being created have good structure kasi walang masyadong noise around February. How about March? So March, no, as mentioned earlier, no, Japan typically strengthens due to the Japan fiscal year end, repatriation, and increased corporate activity. So tumataas siya around March. Okay? In some cases, makikitaan mo na rin ng strength yung euro and pound. Okay? Kasi minsan, depende ngayon sa holiday siya, no, sa US, minsan, maaga ding nag-holiday yung mga tao. Around end of March, makikita mo medyo nag-i-strengthen na yung euro and pound. So by April, in general, around April, dun mo talaga makikita, that's the start of the summer vacation. Diyan mo makikita na ngayon yung strength ng euro and pound. Okay? How about May? Sa May naman, yung USD and CAD, alright, USD CAD weakens as the all seasonality favors CAD. Ibig sabihin yan, yung Canadian dollar, okay? Yung economy kasi ng Canadian dollar, kumbaga strongly tied to the value of oil. So around that time, papasokin ko lang yung mga tao, wait lang. Albit natin si Kirk, saka si Julius. Alright. So around that time, no, yung CAD tumataas yung value because of that. Okay? So again, no, CAD is tied to is relatively have a strong ties with the oil value. Okay? And so tumataas din yung value ng CAD around May. Because that would be the seasonality of oil. Diyan naglalabas normally ng numbers, yung energy sector. Okay? June. Sa June naman, middle of the year, alright, middle of the year, dyan talaga lumalabas yung mga central bank policy, yung mga updates, alright. Mid of the year, medyo kung hindi masyadong maganda yung takbo ng economy ng isang bansa, they have a tendency to parang change it aggressively at the middle of the year. And so dito talaga medyo nagiging volatile na yung market by June and July. Alright, volatile na yung market, makakita ka na ng volatility because the changes can be abrupt sometimes around June. And that is kind of logical kasi nga as mentioned, no, let's say yung US, nagkaroon siya ng recession first half of the year, okay? Kapag nandun ka na dun sa bandang June, July, middle of the year, at hindi pa rin gumagana yung mga policies mo, you have to aggressively change your tactics. And karamihan ng mga bansa ganyan yung ginagawa. And so around June, diyan mo na makikita yung mga aggressive bank policies, aggressive changes on economic outlooks. By July, diyan na talaga yan. May volatility na yung market, nagpipick up na yung volume. At dahil nga marami ng volume, yung USD tends to be very stable. Kasi marami ng transactions na nangyayari, and as arguably the biggest currency there is, no, nagiging stable siya because of that volume. So around August naman, sudden volatility, common pa rin, no? Illiquid yung market, risk due to summer holidays and reduced participation. Dito naman sa August, medyo meron pa rin gears yung market, tumatakbo pa rin ng volatile yung market, pero at the same time, medyo dumadami na rin kasi yung holidays around this time. Okay? September, high activity as traders return from their holidays, USD and Euro influenced by fiscal year-end planning. October naman, notable naman dito yung stock market correction affecting currency market around October. By around Burr months, no, dito na kasi iniisip ng tao yung mga kailangan nila. So think about it yourself, no. Personally, pag pumapasok yung Burr months, ano na yung nasa isip niyo? Right? You might be thinking of vacation, right? Sa Pilipino, madalas ang start ng pag-iisip ng bakasyon other than summer is Burr months, right? They like to travel around Burr months. At the same time, you look at the holidays, you think of what you have to buy, right? So, kumbaga, in a way, para siyang risk off around this time. All right? So, October, mataas yung uncertainty in the market. Okay? May increase of that uncertainty. Yung stock market, medyo mabilis magbago because again, ang stock market normally, di ba, mga companies yan who are producing products and services, at kapag pumasok yung Burr months, gumaganda na yung negosyo nila. So yung mga seasonal na negosyo, biglang tataas yan bigla, right? And that's why nagkakaroon ng correction sa stock market, and that might impact yung currency market as well. November, Euro USD rallies often seen. Okay, year-end USD selling accelerates with portfolio adjustment underway. So by November, makikita mo nag-rally yung Euro, yung USD, nagwi-weaken technically si USD around that time. Okay, around that time nagwi-weaken si US dollar. By December, wala na masyadong volume yung market. Karamihan ng mga retail traders hindi na rin masyado nag-trade. Okay? Kasi because of one, it can be very volatile, and at the same time, mababa naman din yung volume. Okay? And then, balik tayo ulit sa one, kung saan makikita mo naman again na nag-strengthen na naman ulit si US dollar. And that is basically the seasonal cycle per month of the Forex market. Any questions so far, guys? Questions? None? Alright, so moving on, no? So, kakatapos lang natin diniscuss yung seasonal cycle per month. Okay? But other than that, there are also what we call currency-specific seasonal trend. Okay? Na specific siya sa isang currency pair. Okay? Alright, so let's start with USD Japanese yen. So it's one of the major currency pair. As sabi natin kanina, yen strengthened around March, which is the end of the fiscal year for Japan. Okay? Mapapansin din natin na yung USD JPY, no, around mid-February to mid-March, okay, nagkakaroon na ng short position. Alright, normally. Sabi nga natin, kailangan nilang i-close kasi yung position nila around this time. Okay, so makakita ka mataas na short position, yung USD JPY. And increased liquidity around Bank of Japan's quarterly policy meeting. Okay, bakit nagkakaroon ng increased liquidity? Kasi the market tends not to move that much kasi they are waiting for that policy, no? Kung ano yung gagawing policy ni BOJ, Bank of Japan, before they start, no, going, because they just closed the books, right? So mataas yung liquidity, and before they go back or reopen their position, they do wait for that policy meeting. Okay. There's also this December thing with Japanese yen. Every December, mapapansin mo na nagwi-weaken yung volume ni Japanese yen. Okay, nagwi-weaken yung volume ni Japanese yen. Why? Ito yung time din na kahit si US dollar sa December nagwi-weaken kasi nga mababa talaga yung volume, but much more for Japanese yen. Much more for Japanese yen. Kasi isipin mo kung ano yung product ni Japanese yen. Right? So they are actually exporters of goods. And normally, yung mga goods na yan, they don't buy it around December. They buy it the month before. So by December, halos parang wala na masyadong bumibili. Kasi nga holiday season na, right? And then March na ulit yung ano niya, yung taas niya. Pasokin natin si Gian. Hello, Gian. All right. Euro USD seasonal trend. So si Euro USD being one of the most being one of the currency pair with the most volume. Okay. Ay, may tanong pala dito. Sorry. Let me just check your question. So sabi ni participant 38778 typically ba nagkakaroon ng mababang trade o liquidity o di kaya humihinto, sarado yung trading kapag holiday sa Pilipinas o sa mga bansa ng naturang currency? No, hindi nagsasara si currency market, no. Kahit holiday, kahit Pasko nga gumagalaw yung market. Kahit New Year gumagalaw si market. Okay, hindi siya talaga nagsasara. All right, hindi talaga nagsasara. Remember that the forex market is a decentralized market. There's no such thing as, di ba ang stock market, meron tayong tinatawag na stock exchange. All right? Sa Philippines, that would be the PSE. The forex market doesn't have an exchange. Okay, that it doesn't have a central entity that governs it. It's an interbank system. So as long as there are people who's using money to buy and sell products and services, to convert their currency, to get those products and services abroad, there will always be the forex market. Okay? Kahit nga di ba, forex markets open 24/5, meaning actually 24/5.5. Kasi it's open from Monday up until Saturday morning. Okay? Tapos, yung Sunday, alright, although close si forex market, it's because of the banking, ano, di ba? Banking, nagko-close kasi yung mga banks. But in the background, the market is still moving talaga. The market is still moving to the point that by Monday, sometimes, mapapansin mo, biglang taas or baba yung volume. You might be thinking, ay, nagkaroon ng gap. Not necessarily. It's just because the time that it closed and the time it reopened, gumalaw na lang kasi yung market talaga. Di lang minsan pinapakita. Alright? Okay. So I hope I was able to answer your question there. So another Euro USD long position advisable after Thanksgiving due to increased US dollar selling. All right. So again, no, every time there is a holiday, actually, si USD medyo bumabagsak. Alright, every time may mga holidays, bumabagsak si US dollar. Euro strength in early quarter 2, linked to increased European trade activity post-winter. So around April, May, June, around June, no? April, May, June, dyan yung springtime, no? Nagkakaroon ng strength si Euro. And then volatility spikes again during European Central Bank announcements, which is normal, no? Lahat naman. Basta may central bank announcement, nagkakaroon ng volatility. Next. How about Australian dollar, no? Kailan naman siya, ano naman yung mga seasonal trends about AUD? So quarter 1, as I mentioned, New Zealand sa Australia, no? Technically their fiscal year end is basically the same as calendar year end. So Q1 strength supported by increased demand from China during New Year festivities. You need to buy the dip of the AUD USD post Chinese New Year. Okay. And then late year weakness often correlates with commodity price decline. And then you have to understand then, no, that Australia's economy is highly tied to mining industry. Okay, that's why kaya nga may mga Chinese dito. Bakit? Kasi kapag Chinese New Year ang pinakamalaking partner or buyer ni Australia would be China kasi. Okay, and vice versa actually. Okay? All right, going back to Europe, no, about pound, no, GBP USD. Seasonal trend. April pa rin, rallies often linked to the UK tax inflow. Again, tax season kasi ni pound ni UK is April. Okay? And then long position is favored in late March as investors position ahead of fiscal year end. Same thing around March, no? The pound tends to go long or increase in value around March. Okay? Seasonal volatility increases during UK budget statement in autumn, and holiday season usually sees reduced liquidity and erratic price movement around holidays. Okay? And then USD CAD, we already talk about CAD, sabi natin, nakatied yung economy niya sa oil. That's why May and October, pakita mo, nag-rally si oil, si CAD around that time kasi dyan lumalabas yung numbers on oil production. And then lastly, we have the New Zealand US dollar, same one, kanilang fiscal year end is the same as calendar year end. So quarter 1, makikita mo yung strength, all right, yung strength ni NZD, as well as quarter 4. Okay, yung last quarter niya, makikita mo din yung strength niya. Why? NZD kasi or yung New Zealand, siya yung parang food basket ni Australia. So, ang pinakamalaking partner ni New Zealand would be Australia. So, yung mga produce nila, mataas yung kinikita around December, around Christmas time. Okay, any questions so far, guys? I know this. I know that there will be a lot of text here, not a lot of trading. But to be honest with you, if you understand this, trading as a swing trader or as a long-term position trader becomes easy if you understand seasonality. There are actually a lot more others seasonality that we cannot really cover at the moment, but it's up to you to learn all of those. And I promise you, if you understand this, trading becomes way easier. Okay. So when do you use seasonality? So one, you use it as a supportive filter. So as I mentioned, there are some traders who use it. You just use seasonality as a way to trade. But as a beginner, I highly recommend that you use it only as a filter based on your fundamental and technical analysis. All right. So if you see your fundamental and your technical analysis, you can use seasonality as a way to time your trade. So, for example, you're a long-term trader and you're trying to trade, let's say, the euro US dollar around summertime. Okay, nakita mo there is the fundamental seems to say that the market will increase in value or the euro will increase in value. You saw a good setup, that would be your technical analysis, and it's the start of summer. So might as well, that would be a good way to enter a buy position. Because around summer, tumataas talaga yung value ni Euro US dollar. Okay? So seasonality is really just a way to also figure out where the money is going. Not just based on the fundamentals, but also on the seasonal. Kasi ano tayo, as humans, we are a creature of habit kasi. So we go on vacation, we run our business, and most of the time it would just be the same date, same time of the year. Okay. So again, combine that with technical and fundamental analysis, and then lastly, look at your historical data as well. So you research seasonality. Try to check, okay? So sabi natin kanina, no, tax season, tumataas si USD, tumataas si Euro. Check as well, no? Around tax season ba totoo bang nangyayari yan for the last 3 or 4 years? Because if it did, right? Then it might be good to put a buy position, all right, on tax season. Okay, does that make sense? So final thoughts. I know this is a boring webinar, but I promise you after this, no, karamihan na ng mga webinars natin mostly on the chart. Okay, but a final thought, no. Last a couple of webinars, we talked about um, long-term trades, short-term movements, right? All of these halos wala pa tayong tinitingnan na chart. Why is that? Kasi for beginners, I know it is exciting sometimes to look at the chart, to do your analysis, your technical analysis. But as a trader for a long time, I already realized that the chart, although it tells you a lot of things, although it tells you the setup that you need to take, it is really your understanding of how money works and how money flows globally, um, and understanding how that money flows from one country to another based on their fundamental or based from their um, um, uh, what do you call this, sentiments, right? And also understanding the seasonality of each country, that really gives you a good grasp of how you want to trade. And the chart is really just for timing talaga, no? Before you actually enter your trade, you already should have decided whether you want to buy or to sell. And entering your trades on the chart is really to time it a little bit better to give you a better reward ratio. But my point is even if you haven't entered your trade yet, you already know the direction that you want. And so basically, seasonality gives you that timing clarity. What's the best time to enter a buy or when's the best time to enter a sell? Okay? It is a way for you to align not only with your technicals, but also with your macro narrative or the fundamental narrative that you have. So if these three are aligning, there's a big chance that you're going to win your trades. And then lastly, seasonality is really best for swing trading and long-term trading. If you are trading the 1 minute or the 5 minute, um, I do not think that seasonality will benefit your trading that much better. Okay. However, for beginners, actually, I do recommend that you start trading as a swing trader, um, trading the 1 hour or the 4 hour rather than the 5 minute or the 1 minute. Okay. I haven't heard of a beginner who made it work by starting to trade the short term trades or the shorter time frame. Okay. All right. So any questions so far, guys? Any questions so far? All right. So that's it basically, no. Sobrang bilis lang ng webinar natin today. It's really just about the seasonality. And then next time we are going to talk about, let me just check our calendar of events. Yes, Rachel, no, recorded to. So I'll post it sa my YouTube and then I'll send the link. All right. So next time, as I mentioned, now we're going to dive into technical analysis and fundamental analysis. You're going to see a lot more of the chart. Okay, as promised. And then as you can see here, we're also going to talk about how to navigate the platform of your choice, either that's TradingView or MetaTrader. We'll talk about those as well. We'll be talking about numbers like understanding fees, understanding spread, and leverage. So that would be few of the webinars that we're going to do. Now, by the way, guys, we do have, so tomorrow, just like every other year, there's Traders Fair. All right, there's what we call a Traders Fair that will be held in Ortigas. It's going to be in Shangri-La Hotel Ortigas. Okay, that's the entire day, and it's free to join. You can just go there and register. It's free for everyone. You don't have to pay anything. So hopefully, if you have the time to be there, hopefully we'll see each other because I'm going to be there too. Okay. So tomorrow yon, no? Yung Traders Fair. So sa Traders Fair, you're going to see a lot of brokers. There will be some speakers as well. Some good, some bad, okay? But that's up to you which one you're going to listen to. I'm sure there will be a lot of cryptocurrency traders. There will be some forex traders as well. I'll be there not as a speaker, but as a visitor, because I know some of the people who will be there. I know some of the brokers as well. So I'll just go there to roam around and see if there are any other brokers or other faces in the industry. So if you find me there and you know my face, say hi. All right. That would be I would be very, very grateful if you do that. And then right after we actually have an office warming in BGC. As everyone knows, I'm part of PU Prime. This webinar is brought to you by PU Prime. We have our office warming at around 5 in the afternoon until whatever time in the evening. Okay. So for those who've been with the company for a long time. If you are an IB of PU Prime, okay, and hopefully you were able to register, no? Then let me know as well. I do have a car. I might just, you can just tag along with me if you want to. All right. But yeah, so if you want to join, I think you still can. Just let Jana or Ollie or Tiffany know that you want to join us. All right, because it needs you need to be registered to join the office warming event. Okay, but in the office warming, it's really just for us to know you better, to see the faces behind the accounts, and hopefully to connect with other traders with PU Prime. Alright, so sabi dito, sana magkaroon kayo ng webinar kung saan yung topic kami kinalaman sa passive trading. Passive trading, complete and comprehensive, multiple parts as necessary, at saka yung buong kasaysayan ng forex trading money markets. Actually, participant 387784, no, yung mga webinars natin, if you go to our Facebook page and go to videos, our webinars span 3 years already. So I've been doing this for 3 years. You would find forex trading. We don't do money markets though. No, we don't do money markets. But with forex trading, yung history niya, ilang beses ko na kinover yan. Okay, so you can just go there and find that video. And then yung mga topics natin about passive trading, we actually have a lot already. All right. Although we are going to cover some of them on this series as well. Okay. We already covered trading robots, copy trading. We already covered all of those in the past. Some in depth, some introductory. So I'm sure whatever level you are right now in your trading journey, there will be a video there that suits you. Okay. In this series this year, we do have some sessions wherein we are going to talk about passive trading as well. All right. So just make sure that you join that webinar. Okay. So any other question, guys? If none, that's it for today. No. Anong time? Sabi ni Joseph. The traders pair is I think starts at 9:30 if I'm not mistaken, or 9 o'clock. And then the event in the office starts around 5. All right. I'll be there around lunch or before lunchtime. Okay. So maraming salamat, guys. And I'll see you again hopefully tomorrow. If not, then next Friday. All right. Maraming salamat and happy weekend. Name ko Jericho Matela. Guys, maraming salamat. See you. Thank you so much. You're welcome. You're welcome.